I said, I'll come do a live. Lord, I pray that you protect me on this road. It's busy in traffic. So I won't be looking at you all often. I'll be looking over every now and at you all. But listen, I want to come and talk to you all about something that I was thinking about as I'm on my way home. And I was talking to a good friend last night. We was on the phone talking a while, and we were just talking about because there's a thing with people, and mostly we were talking about family. There was a thing with people. There's a thing with family, um, who tends to want to they tend to want to mistreat you, exclude you. They do all type of craziness to you, right? But as soon as you get tired of dealing with the craziness, dealing with the up and down, the in and out, the back and forth, and you pull your energy back, as soon as you do that, now all of a sudden you're the villain, and all of a sudden, um I'm gonna say they care, but they pretend to be concerned. They tend to be concerned. And that's what I don't have time for. I tolerated it and I dealt with that a lot. So I kind of understand where she was coming from. When we talked about it, we discussed it. Um, but I dealt with that a lot too. How people want to, because see, they know they can play on your emotions. Whenever you have, and that's why I'm so glad we're waking up, right? Us chosen ones, we're waking up and we're becoming stronger. We have boundaries, we have a backbone. Okay, we have boundaries and a backbone. B and B. Okay, and using our brain. Like Tony Gaskins be talking about. They be talking about body, brain, and booty or something. He be talking about the three B's. I got three B's for you: backbone, boundaries, and we use it too. Yeah, we're using a B. But anyways, and we were talking about that, just how people can have all the energy by making sure you're not included, by making sure they leave you out, by making sure you're forgotten about, by making sure that they try to that you feel like you don't exist in their life, right? But emotionally, they can feel that you care because these are spirits you're dealing with, okay? Emotionally, they can feel you care. This is how emotionally they feel, right? You care. Because as soon as you stop caring, now all of a sudden, people got all this stuff to say. They got all this energy, all these different words: forgive, let go, forget, this, that. They have all that to say because you don't care anymore. You have withdrawn your energy. You have went no contact. You have removed yourself, right? As soon as you do that, now all of a sudden they care. Now all of a sudden, because they felt like you cared in the beginning. Now all of a sudden, everybody wants to talk about this, that, and the other, but they didn't have that same energy when everyone else was mistreating you, or excluding you, or leaving you out, right? They didn't have that type of energy. They were not concerned about that. And I'm just so glad that people are finally waking up. And what I was telling, my friend, I was telling her, who was talking about, different things. I told her, so you have to look at it like this, without getting into all the details. I told her, so you have to look at it like this. You know yourself, and you know who you are. You know how you are. And I told her, this is what I did. I had to start looking at it, things as if I don't deserve that. Right. So I told her she had to start looking at it and telling herself, I don't deserve the treatment that they're doing. And that's what I had to tell myself. I'm like, you know what? I don't deserve that. I don't treat people that way, and I'm not going to let people treat me that type of way. In and out, hot and cold. You want to exclude me and include me when you get ready. Like, just that's abuse. That's emotional abuse. That's what it is. As if you don't know I exist, you know? So I was telling her that's how she have to look at it. And I'm just glad people are waking up and setting boundaries and standing up for themselves. Standing up for themselves against, relatives. I ain't gonna say family because family don't treat you like that. Against relatives who are just not genuine. And your life will be so much freer when you realize that you don't have to deal with people who are not just being genuine with you, who really don't care for you, who just want to tolerate you, right? Um, your life will become so much peaceful. I did a video yesterday or maybe 2 days ago talking about how when you put up boundaries, how peaceful your life becomes. How when you stop dealing with certain people, because certain people, um, certain types of people, or certain people you hang around or you're connected to emotionally, that um, cause a lot of your depression, um, you know, your mental health issues, the different energies you're connected to, they tend to not determine, but tend to you know, trigger or drive your emotions. You feel a certain type of way. hmm Because of people who you're around and different energies and things you're around. And it wasn't until I separated myself from people that I gained peace. Because when you cut certain people off and stop dealing with certain people, you stop dealing with certain energies. Like all the people they're connected to and their energies and all the different emotions they're dealing with, from those people, you don't have to feel all of that. Because I know I'm very sensitive in my spirit. I feel a lot of things. I feel a lot of, I can feel people emotions. I can feel when they're, and that's most likely, I won't say it's a trauma respond. When you're sensitive, you're gifted spiritually, but some of it do come from being going through trauma as a child, always having to be on edge, always having to be alert of your surroundings, you know um always trying to manage other people's emotions. No, we're too seasoned for that. And I know I'm not tolerating anything from anybody. I don't care who it is, because I know I don't treat people wrong. I know I don't. I know my intentions are pure. When I come into someone's life, my intentions are pure, and I'm not going to tolerate anything. So that's why I was telling her, you got to look at it as if you don't. I told her to look at things as if, look at it as if, ask yourself, do I deserve this? And most likely the answer is no. Because one thing I know about people, when they're jealous, not saying that everybody's jealous of you or whatever, but when they're jealous and people don't like you, especially family, they tend to try to exclude you. They tend to try to make you feel like something is wrong with you, right? They'll tend to make it seem like something is wrong with you. And most likely the one who they're trying to exclude is the strongest, they're the wisest, They're the different looking one. So people get jealous of that. They're just set apart, right? They're set apart. And people see that. There's a light on that person. And your relatives see that and they want you to feel bad because of it. People don't talk about this a lot enough. We got to stop looking at relatives as if they're the end all be all because they're not. Remove blood, remove that you're related to this person. I don't care if that's a sibling, parent, whomever, aunt, uncle. Take that title off them and watch how they are treating you. That's what you have to look at. Watch and pay attention to how they treat you. Do they respect you? Do they value you? Right? Remove those titles and look at what they're doing to you. Because a lot of times we stay in abusive situations because of titles, because that's mama, because that's your child, because that's sis, because that's bro, and they're taking advantage of you. They're taking advantage and they're tolerating you because you benefit them in some way. It's something that you have that benefits them, that they're not going to treat you right, right? And exactly, they surely wouldn't. And that's why we have to stand up and get a backbone and some boundaries, and use our brain. And that's the thing too about these people. They're so fragile and weak because they know the people who they are abusing, we don't operate in that energy. You know, we don't operate in that. We're not confrontational people. We're not people who like to be in foolishness. We're those type of people, and they know that we're not combative. We're not all, we're not the type that want to be in foolishness and mess all the time. But oh boy, when we go there, they gonna feel it. They gonna know. They gonna feel it. There won't be any gray areas. They gonna know when we get there, and we try not to go there because we know how we are. We know how we can get, right? Because we have to be pushed because we can carry a lot. That's the gift God gave us. We know how to long suffer with people. And sometimes it's not I ain't gonna say it's not a good gift because everything God gives is good, but people could take advantage of that and they know it. They know you will forgive and give chance after chance after chance. They know that. They know that and they take advantage of it. But that's why we're waking up. You got two times with me. I don't give people third chance. I give you a second chance, but after that third time, I'm not dealing with you. You just another person. I'm not dealing with, and I'm okay with that. There's no more giving third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth. Either you a decent person and you made a mistake, but you're not getting all those chances. Not with me. The way my piece is set up right now in my life, at the ripe age of 45, this ripe old age of 45, I am okay. I don't have that type of patience anymore. I can't tolerate people like that because I know I'm not coming in that energy, right? And I'm not going to let people bring me in that energy. Thank you all for all the blessings. Yes, God really do love me. I know that for a fact. I know I'm favored. um, but yeah, when you stop caring, that's when people want to care. And by that time, it's too late. But they do want, right? They do want you to care. And when you get to that point where, like, you know what, I don't care. I just really don't. Like, I'm indifferent. I don't hate you. I'm not mad. I just don't care. Yep. So, but yeah, people want you to care. And you have to care enough for yourself. You have to care enough for yourself and your mental health. Because one thing I know, when you're the person that is sensitive, and when I say sensitive, whether you want to or not, you are anointed, you have a gift. You just have to walk fully into that. And you have to walk fully into that. But one thing about people who have that sensitivity, who's sensitive in their spirit, and who long suffer with people, people will take advantage of you. And I had another thought, but I'm driving, so I'm paying attention. So I lost my train of thought in that moment. But people would take advantage of you because they know you will suffer along with them. And what I've noticed is they won't expect that from nobody else but you, right? They won't expect that from no one else but you. But when you wake up, you cut people off, you stop dealing with people, you love them. Thank you for letting me in. You love them from a distance, and you realize you don't have to be connected to love. You don't have to be connected to pray for them. You don't have to be connected to still send them blessings. Once you realize that, your life will become peaceful. You're not connected to all the chaos. Because if I get a whiff of chaos, I'm out. I will exclude myself so quick. I just don't have time for that. I've wasted so many of my years um, in chaotic situations, dealing with people, going back and forth over nonsense because I really didn't know who I was. I was too busy trying to people please and run behind people and let them see that I'm valuable and that I'm worthy and that I'm in their corner. I got their back, and I'm not doing that anymore because people don't return that same energy. People didn't return that same, and then I was younger and I hadn't done the work on myself. And you tend to do that. See, I'm not ashamed to come on these internet streets and let people know where I've been in some circumstances when God released me to testify because it's going to help somebody. But when you're young and your frontal lobe is not developed, you don't make good decisions. You don't even really know what you want. That's why I advise people don't get married until you know what you want and you know who you are. You got to know what you want, who you are, and who you are. Because if you don't know those three things, you're going to be looking for that in someone. You're going to be looking for someone to give you that. You got to know who you are, what you want, whose you are. You got to know that you're a child of God. If you don't know that, you don't need to get married. And I know the world and religion, and that's another thing. That's why so many people are going through divorces because the church, and I understand their reason behind that, but the church is not even God's way. People are still not pure. The man and woman are still not pure in doing it God's way. They just marrying folks because that's what they know the Bible says. But are these people really getting married to honor God? And I can answer that for you. Half of the time is no, because they already shacking up. They already shacking up, they already fornicating before time, they already living together. So that's a disaster waiting to happen anyways. It's a disaster waiting to happen. So they're not doing it his way either. And just because we get married in the church or by a pastor or preacher, that doesn't mean that God sealed that. That doesn't mean it's from God and of God and by God. 'Cause we'll stamp God on some foolishness in a minute and say it was him, right? And that's not how that goes. That's not how that goes. So, but I wanted to come and share that with you. People want you to care. All my energy has died out because I'm a morning person. All my vibrancy, I'm so like I'm full of force in the morning. In the mornings, I am at 110 in the morning. Because I'm a morning person. I like to do everything in the morning. I forgot when I was in grad school. I don't know what was the name of that activity that we did. I need to go research, and you all probably could Google it too. Um, you all probably can Google it, but it's an activity. I don't remember the name of it. Hold on, you all. Turn my light on. There was an activity we did that tell you when are you can do an assessment, and it'll tell you when is the best time for you to get things done. And I know I was gonna be a morning person. I knew that off the top. Okay, early in the morning, but I don't remember the name of it. It's been so long ago, since 2012, 13ish, in that time. Those years. But what I was going to say, but it'll teach you to tell you when you're at your peak, and when it's good for you to get most of your chores and things done, activities, things that you want to get done. It'll tell you, and it was true for me. Yep, it was true for me. I think I still have the activity or the assessment in my paper somewhere. But yeah, that's what I want to come talk to you all about. Thank you all for listening and with me today. I hope all is well. I hope you all had a great evening if you went to work. Hope your work day went well. Hope your school day went well. I just hope that you had a good day. I'm covering GNGU 247. I'm recovering from a lot, and my mom passed away 4 months ago. I'm out shock, but still not able to be productive. Yeah, you got to grieve. Grief is a see when you're going through grief is you have to process grief. Like, we're all going to go through it. Unfortunately, we don't be prepared for it because you can never prepare to lose a loved one. I don't care how strong you are, I don't care how religious you are. You're not prepared to lose someone. And I know when you're grieving, it has to be processed. Your emotions has to be processed. Your feelings have to be processed. And it's good to get a journal. I journaled through a lot of I had so many deaths around the pandemic, like close relatives, like from 2021 and 2022. It was just 2023. Yes, no, up to last year. I had a lot of deaths just back to back to back. I was just so tired of going to funerals. I was exhausted. And I was going through my own life happenings. Okay, I was going through my own transition and process and life, and that was a lot. And I had to not only just pray and tap in and rely on my faith. I journaled a lot. Journaling helps because sometimes people don't really understand you. Um, and so you just got to be you and God. That's what I did. I'm like, Lord, you have to help me through this. You help me through this. Yeah, you just got to process. You're grieving. Just process your pain. And it is hard to process. It really is. 4 months, that's still fresh. You probably in a denial state right now. Hmm. Yep, you probably still in denial. Like you said, you probably still shocked. So you got to get through that process. And look up the cycles of grief on Google the cycles of grief, and you will see there's a cycle that you go through, and you probably can identify what cycle you are in by how you're feeling, and print that out or write it down, and so you can know where you are in your stage of grief, and see what activities you can do, see what prayer do. um and it's mainly prayer and asking God to walk with you and guide you. That's how I got through it. I don't care what anybody say. If I didn't trust in God, they can believe in him or not. That's not my business. But if what I went through from 2020 up until last year, I know God is with me. But see, the thing about God is sometimes he don't take the storm away, but he'll be there with you in the storm. Because we want him to take the storm away. But sometimes we need the storm to make us stronger. And he walks through us to show us how strong we are and that we can make it. Because we are going to lose loved ones. We are going to lose children. Our children are going to lose us. So just trying to teach, and that's what I'm trying to do, teach my kids how to process grief, right? How to process grief, because it's devastating when you lose someone. It's very devastating. So you just have to, process it. And if you can get out and exercising help too. Um, yeah, exercising help. That helps, release different hormones and release different endorphins and different, what is it? Is it endorphins? The brain is a little tired right now. But it helps you to get it. That's what helped me. Working out, even just going for a walk. Even if you just walk a short distance, that'll help. Even if you just walk around where you live, your community, to the garbage can and back, or to a park, just get out and walk. You have to get out. Because if not, you may fall into a depression. That's what the enemy wants. He want all us to fall into a depression. He want all us to fall into a depression, not trust and believe in God, make this world and what's going on our God, believe in what's going on. He want us to trust the worldly system and way, so we can fall into a depression, be fearful. I'm not doing that. I don't care what's going on. I'm just not going to do that. I keep my focus and trust in God, and I keep moving. I got a lot to complain about. Listen, I got a lot to complain about. If I tell y'all the stuff I got to complain about, y'all probably leave here depressed off my life. But I'm just not that type of person to sit and complain and worry. I think about solutions. I'm solution minded. I've always been that way. Um, I've always been that way. Um, I just try to focus on how I can resolve the issue, because you know, because focusing on the issue makes things worse. It's not going to do anything, right? Focusing on the problem and, you know, focusing on the problem really makes it worse. It expands and it, like they say, the saying, what you think about, you bring about, right? And I know it's hard to stay positive, especially depends on who you have around you. And that's why it's good to eliminate them circles. When people don't have faith like you do, sometimes it's just gonna be you and God in the season. And you have to be okay with that. I had to be okay with that. Like, I don't need nobody around to discourage me, right? I don't need nobody around to discourage me and talk and keep talking about the same thing, right? That I'm telling you. Sometimes, yeah, you need to vent to people sometimes because we need to get stuff out, and I understand that. But vent to the right people. I just don't like repeating. After two times talking about things, I'm done. I feel if it's not a shocker, because sometimes when you shock, you tend to repeat things over and over and over and over and over. And that's understandable. That's why you have to have people who understand. You have to have people who understand. Yeah, it probably can, because you can feel that. You can feel what people got going on. You trying to get yourself together, and they got all their energy and they're saying this and that. That's too much. That is, that's a lot. I can't tolerate it. When I tell you I have spiritual boundaries, I have natural boundaries. When I feel people in their chaotic energy, they got that chaos going on. I know how to move myself, and I don't feel bad about it. I used to feel bad. I'm not going to lie. When you before I got delivered from people pleasing, I was always considerate of people's thoughts, and if they, I didn't want to make them mad. I didn't want them getting angry with me. If I set a boundary, I used to be afraid. Now I don't care. You could turn blue. You could fall out right there in the floor. I'm still gonna set that boundary. I'm gonna drop that boundary right there. You're gonna be out on the floor, and I'm still gonna have that boundary. No, no, exactly. No, yeah, you can't. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in being a loner. Um, I believe in asking God to send the right people, but I do understand in a season in a season you're going to be alone until God do a work in you. See, what happened to me is I was in a season where I was alone. I was in a long stretch of a season by myself for a long time, right? But what happened in that season when I was isolated is God did more so a work in me. He did more so a work in me and my heart to purify my heart to get me to where I needed to be so I can attract the right people or not realize when the right people come in my life to know how to respect their boundaries and understand that I don't have to be talking to a person every day. Like, he had to do a lot of work in me. Then he's setting the right people. When he do that work in you and you get your heart right, you'll attract the right people. People will want to be around you. Although I was alone, like alone in that season of isolation, I was never lonely. I had my church family. I had people who used to come and, take me out to lunch, different acquaintances. I don't call them friends, but different, associates and acquaintances. Used to come and, we used to go out to lunch. And that's a good thing. Everybody's not your friend, right? But there are people who are good acquaintances, who are good associates. And you have to know where, you have to know not not to cross that line with certain people. When you go out, it's for fellowship or it's for just getting out, trying to get to know that person, but you don't go out and trauma dump and spill and overshare. Keep it surface. And that's what helped me. I've always been that person. I'm, to be honest, I am a popular loner, but I'm never alone. I'm just never alone. I never felt alone. Never felt alone. Never felt lonely. Did go through a season of isolation. Like, I ain't got nobody I could call, like, who can I call? Thinking like that, but I never felt alone because I know God is with me and he always send the right people. When I noticed when I felt like I was just considered lonely or didn't have anybody to talk to, worker, old friend, or somebody, acquaintances from church, they be like, "Oh, let's go out. Let's go. You want to go have lunch?" You know. And if I had time, I would say yes. If I didn't have time, I would just schedule for another time. Now you're a good church family. You got to pray on that because all churches are not created equal. Um, exactly. That's what I did. Stop pouring from an empty cup. The stuff I give people, that's from the overflow. When I come on YouTube, y'all getting from the top of my cup. My cup is running over. I don't give no more until I'm depleted. I used to do that because I'm a people pleaser. I used to give until I was depleted, always running and chasing and trying to be there for people. I don't do that foolishness no more. I save all my energy for myself and my children. I give my job what my job paid me to give. After that, I try to leave that there. Yeah, but once you heal, dear, you gonna see. Cause the peace that I have now, I wouldn't trade that for the world. Y'all will be back here burning up if I had to. If it was the world of my peace. I've been left the world behind. It's gonna be me and my peace over there in the corner, just me on a little lonely island. But that's how protective I am about my peace. I don't need nobody to bring me their drama. I help people because that's what I do. I'm a life coach, but I'm one of those people who I like to get to the root of things, and the root of things is never anyone else's fault. That's how I see it. It's never anyone else's fault. Yes, they may have done something to you or done something to me, but what can I do? So I won't allow that, whatever they did, to affect me, to stop me from being great, to stop me from being happy, to stop me from being joyous and vibrant and positive and energetic. What can I do? That's how I coach. I coach like we got to do the work on us. That's why this channel is called the responsibility channel. We turn all that finger pointing, we turning it back to us. Because we have the power to allow people in our lives. We have the power to remove them. We have the power to remove ourselves. We have the power to go places. And we are in control of going to these places that stress us out. So we need to not go to those places and around those people that stress us out. No one is telling us to do it. Half of the time we're doing it out of obligation. We are doing it out of, people pleasing. And I had to learn because I did. I tolerated a lot of people and I just didn't want to be around those people. But because of who I was connected to, I felt I was obligated because I didn't like them energies. Them little demonic energies, I did not like them energies. I did not like them. But then you feel like you obligated. And I had to learn I'm not obligated to do anything. But as the Southern people say, I don't have to do nothing but stay black and die. I don't know why they used to say that, but if you're from the South, that's what they used to say. We don't have to do anything. And that's what we have to realize. We've given our power and control to so many people. We allow these people to control us and dictate our happiness and emotions. I'm like, I ain't giving nobody else that. I ain't never giving nobody else that much power over me. To where I got to sit over there in the corner quiet like a little mouse. I can't be happy. I can't laugh. You get around some of these energies, they don't want you to laugh. They don't want you to talk. They don't want you to be happy. Oh, the devil is a lie. The devil is a lie. So I had to do a lot of work. Mm-mm. I had to do a lot of work. I'm not doing that. No, ma'am, I'm not doing it. If you don't like me and my energy, you go somewhere else. You put on some glasses if I shine too bright. You do what you need to do to avoid me, but I'm not going to stop being me. And I did that a lot. I did that a lot. People gave me little stank attitudes, you know, had that little energy, and I was, unhealed. I'll go into my little shell. I give them the energy they give me. No, I ain't doing that. You gonna fold before I do. I'm not going to stop speaking to people and laughing and I'm not doing that. You don't want to be around me, that's you. But I'm not dimming my light. I'm not going to stop being kind because you angry and mean. And I used to do that. I used to let people affect how I would react and how I would behave with others because that little negative energy don't zapped up. I gave them all my attention and power, and they don't zapped up um my energy. Mhm. Yeah, we tend to do that. I have to. Look, I have to, honey. We do stuff like that when we don't know. We sleep with them too. We sleeping with the enemy, like that movie with J Lo sleeping with the enemy. You definitely do be sleeping with the enemy, and sometimes don't be knowing it. That's friends with the enemy. Mm. Like, it comes from our unhealed trauma. We keep people around longer than we should because of unhealed trauma. Unaddressed. We don't address it. I had to go and do a lot of addressing and being okay with losing people because when you start addressing your trauma, you're going to see how you allow people to play in your face, how you allow people to play in your face. It's not their fault. We didn't put the boundary up. I'm not mad at anybody who played in my face. But are they in my space now? Absolutely not. I'm not upset with anyone because I allowed that. I wasn't doing the work on myself and I allowed that to happen to me. I take full accountability and I move on. That's how I move on. Because he'll play on your in your face, especially when you're kind and you got that people pleasing spirit. Hmm. That usually happens that way. He deceived all of us. I was deceived. If I tell you about all my deception, girl, you'll too add something. She got too much going. That's okay. I understand what you're saying. Look, you be like, if I tell you about all my the stuff how I was deceived, child, just know you ain't by yourself. That's why it's good to share our testimonies. Um, you may want to refresh your page. I don't know. I don't see. I got connection over here. Let me see. Refresh your phone. But yeah, it's just camera. But yeah, if you ain't the only one. But trust and believe. You're not the only one. I've been through some deception. Like I've been through. I was naive. I was gullible. Gullible. And that's what happens when you're young. Um, either child. Look, I had this person when I used to be out there like that. And I mean not like out there, but when I used to hang around certain people and had certain types of friends. And I grew up around like when you come from a small town, everybody know everybody. But I used to stay down the street from the guy who I'm getting ready to talk about. I saw this guy in Walmart to play with his brothers. I used to go down to his house, play with him, and and I saw him in Walmart and I called his name because we were like, I'm gonna say childhood friends, but I was more friends in the same age as his brothers. He was a little older than us, but I'm the same age. And I'm like, I'm such and something. I'm Monique. You don't remember me? He was like, no, you ain't no Monique. I'm like, you remember I used to talk to this person, that person? He was like, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. He telling me I'm not me. I'm like, but that's what happens when God change you and transform you. People won't believe it. They really won't, because you're not the same. You don't act the same. And sometimes people see you in a different chapter in your life, and they mistake that chapter is who you are, and that's not really who you are. Just because they found you in a certain chapter in your life, that's not who you are. God is still working on you. God is still working on you. People don't think that you will ever grow up and mature and become something different. That's the thing. Sometimes people count you out and put limits on you in their head. They don't put a limit on you and say because of this and because of that, you know, because of your parents, because of this, you're not going to be anything. And that's not true, right? And that's not true at all. Not true. So, but um, I have to rename this title because we don't talk about everything as usual. But let me go. Oh, it's 47 minutes. Oh my goodness, I didn't know I've been on here this long. I'm gonna have to go, you all, and you all be blessed. Do the work on your son. Take time, journal, pray, fast, ask God to guide you and show you, and that's how you're gonna get through it. That's how I got through it. It's not easy. It's hard, but what I like is going through hard things. There are some good lessons that we can get out of it. That's what I like. I don't like the pain, and it doesn't feel good at all. God knows it don't feel good. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. So I don't went through some of the worst pain. I wouldn't wish some of the pain that I've experienced on anyone. The betrayals by close people to me, like I wouldn't wish that on nobody. But the lessons I gained and the strength that I got, like they say, I went in a little putty cat. I went in a little putty cat. I came out a lion. I went in, came out. Went in, little old timid little kitty cat just going in there, going in the little cage, going in the den. My tail tucked under, hurt, wounded. Got in that quiet time, that prayer time, came out a roaring lion. Came out a lion. And that's spiritually too. That's spiritually. Okay. So don't be playing around. I don't be playing around with no devils. I, I just don't. I don't get them no time over here. When I see those spirits in folks, either I'm gonna move around or move out of the way. And that's it. So you all be blessed and you have a good night. Let me go get me some gas and um yeah. So you have a good night.